Hello there, Kim Coles here, and it's time for the Wisdom Gifts Book Podcast. Right now, I'm bringing to the stage Jacinth Dada, who's going to talk about the snapback from trauma to triumph, because that's what she's passionate about. Let's check out the interview right now.
I'm excited to be talking to you today.
Thank you. Thank you. If I go into my Caribbean accent, please don't be mad at me. I know that you are a sistren.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm not from the islands, but I love, and I even told you when we first met, I'm originally from Brooklyn, and so I feel like I have the Caribbean. So you, as I recall, I believe that you are Jamaican.
Yes, I was born in Jamaica. Yes. Yes. Migrated to America at the age of 8. So I'm Jamaican.
Jamaican. Thank you. Thank you. Let's talk about this passion that you have. And I'm so glad that you have this passion because so many lives are changed because of the work that you do about snapping back. So it's the snapback. You are the expert on snapback from trauma to triumph. And what does that mean overall?
Overall, what the snapback means is our ability to be resilient in times of trauma, in times of challenges, having that inner strength that I believe God has given us to be able to be resilient, to rebound from those, traumatic experiences in our lives.
So where did you learn this? What's the moment of origin for you to understand that, there is a snapback to be had in the midst of trauma?
Well, to be honest, I've been on this journey for a long time, for decades. And it was about probably 5 years ago, I was preparing a speech and I needed a topic. I needed something that can really summarize where I've been and where I am now. And I believe
Mm.
that God dropped that in my spirit. He said, the snapback from trauma to triumph. So that's where that was birthed. That branding, that, I don't want to call it's just, that phrase, having the ability to, snap back from whatever life has thrown to you, our resilience.
Our resilience. So what does it mean to snap back? Because the word for me sounds like you're not denying that the trauma is real. You're not running away from it, but there's an energy of, pulling back and sort of arresting the pain of it and then deciding to move in another direction. That's what it feels like to me. Is that what it's all about?
That's what it's all about. I always think about, a rubber band, something with elastic. And the purpose of a rubber band, a lot of times, is to hold things together. And
Mm.
when you're stretched, right? Look at a rubber band. When you can stretch it as much as you can, but there comes a time when you let go of that tension, it goes back to its original. And I believe that's what trauma is. If you do the right things, put the right people in place, get the right counseling, the right coaches, the right mentor, and then you have a mindset to change. You're able, like a rubber band, no matter how much you're stretched, no matter how much you go through traumatic experiences, you're able to come back to your original created being.
That's so beautiful. I love this, Jacinth, because I think so many of us have gone through so much trauma in our lives that we have forgotten that there is a place of triumph, a place of that the Creator, made us that is perfect and whole and beautiful. And so let's talk about how we can remember that we can snap back to this perfect place. And I don't mean perfect as in we're perfect human beings, but that place that the Creator had for us. Let's talk about how we can identify that we're so stretched that we've forgotten how to snap back.
That is a really good question and a good statement. I think for a lot of women, we are created, we're a womb man. We're created to carry things and to nurture things, to birth things. And I think a lot of times as women, we wear so many hats. and we
Mm,
have so many responsibilities and we want to accomplish so many things. And in those moments, we are left on the sidelines.
mm,
And at some point in our lives, when when we're stretched like a rubber band, right? We have to take time to rest. I call
mm.
that the pause moment, because if we don't learn how to rest, then we will never be able to regain control of our lives, our emotion, our spirit, soul, and body, to be able to get back to that original me, how God created us to be.
What do you say to someone who says, I rest? What do you mean slow down? What do you mean sit down? What do you mean go take a nap? If I slow down, I'll fall down, or I can't stop. What do you say to someone who says, I don't even know how to shut off my mind or my heart or stop the train from running long enough for me to rest? What do you say to someone who
Hmm.
says something like this?
I would say to that person, to that individual, if you don't rest, then you will not be able to survive the next the next seasons of your life. And I believe that God has created us to rest. And I always bring this analogy from a biblical standpoint, is that even Jesus Christ, who we know is the God man, the Bible said he was all God and he was all man. And
Mm,
in his life mission, in his vision, in his purpose on earth, he took time to rest,
mm.
because he knew if he did not rest, he would not be able to fulfill his purpose,
Right.
right? So I believe rest is an intentionality, and it should be a non negotiable. And sometimes you do need a support system to help you to be able to put the tools in place that will help you to pause, to rest.
Nice. Nice. Talk about your support system and the support system. I know you talk a lot about this and you teach a lot about this. How important is the support system and what does a support system look like?
Wow, that's good. A support system is vital to our survival. For me, my support system, number one, begins with my personal relationship with Christ. And secondly, it is family members in my own tribe that are my cheerleaders, that will tell me it's time to pause, it's time to rest. You're doing a bit too much, right? And then another important aspect of support system, over the years, I've learned that having coaches in my life is vital, and not only coaches but mentors, because there are times that we have so much in us and so much we want to do, that people are equipped, and they are so good at what they do to bring you in alignment with yourself and with your purpose. So a support system, I can't live without a support system. And having that girlfriend or that those girlfriends that you can call on a whim and say, you
Right.
know what, I'm going through this. Some girlfriends, they you're so bonded with them that you don't even have to tell them. Sometimes they know that something is happening with you, and they're going to pick that phone up and call you. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about a support system. People that are going to love you when you're ugly, love you when you're beautiful, love you when you're not doing well at all, love you when you're failing, love you when you're successful. So for me, a support system is necessary to be able to go through life successfully.
Nice. I have to tell you, just speaking of Jamaicans, one of my Jamaican girlfriends is one of those support system pillars for me. She can just hold the bucket for me as I dump everything in. And she has a way of even, and sometimes without even giving me a solution, just being that support system, being that bucket that I can dump everything and just get everything out of my head and out of my heart and into this safe space is beautiful. So, and she happens to be Jamaican as well. So that, I just want to give that. So what would you say to someone who might be listening? You say, well, my family is really not that supportive. I can't turn to them, or I really don't have as strong a faith as you appear to have, Jacinth. I don't know if I, trust the Creator in that way, or I don't really have any girlfriends. But I'm scared if I tell people they might gossip on me, or how do I go about finding a coach? What would you say to someone who doesn't have a ready support system or hasn't collected, the pieces of a support system? How do they begin?
I would say begin with where you are. What are some of the things that you like to do? And then be intentional about connecting with those things. If you're someone that loves to go to the movies, for example, find people, because now, I mean, we're so open to Google webs and so many technology that are there for us, that we can connect with societies within our communities that we are passionate about, right? If I love to swim, then I find an organization that there's free swimming, and then you can connect in those ways. So I would always say, begin where you are, begin with your passions, and then
Mm,
make yourself available and make yourself friendly in those
nice.
spaces. Yeah.
And so, how do we then? So let's say I'm someone who I have trauma, I have triggers, or I may not even know how deep it goes. How do I begin unpacking that so that I can begin to find my support and go looking for my support? How do I begin to even look at my trauma in the way that it can be moved to triumph? I think so many of us hold on to our trauma. It becomes
Mhm.
our baggage that we carry with us. At least it's what I already know. So how can we begin to be courageous enough to even look at it in a new way so that it can be transmuted into triumph?
Wow, that's a great question. I love that.
Yeah.
To be honest, I can begin with this. How I began is, number one, I feel that you have to identify this, that you do have trauma that you have not addressed. And journaling for me was the beginning of everything. Beginning to take an assessment of my life, where I have been, the things that I've been through, and begin to just journal. And earlier you talked about dumping. And I believe that sometimes we can use journaling as a space and a place that we can
Mm.
dump everything that is in our hearts, the hurts, the trials, the difficulties, and begin to just write. And as we do that, we're able to see, okay, what do I need to address first? Right?
Mhm.
And I believe that there's always someone, if you look hard enough within your space, that you
Mhm.
can connect with. And for me, I believe that's a beginning.
Of course. And I know you very much believe in getting the counseling that you need, finding the
Mhm.
mentors. How important is that really? I know you mentioned that that is part of your support system, but how important from your perspective is it for us to have people who aren't even in our people who don't know us intimately, to mentor us and coach us and get us, back on track? How important is that?
It is vital. I believe that coaches and mentors are like, they're like a lifeline
Mm.
that is available for us. And it's like when you have a lifeline and you connect, you hold on to that lifeline, then they're able to bring awareness to things that, I call it like a blind side, things that we're not even aware of. And they're able, because they're skilled in the area of coaching and mentoring and counseling, to bring things to the forefront that you have hid all these years. And they bring a different perspective, right? So you're able to tap into their knowledge, you're able to tap into the skills and the tools that they have. You understand? So we're able to use those tools as we go through life to be able to bring us out of those spaces of trauma so that we can live fulfilling lives.
Yes.
So, yes, coaching, mentoring, counseling are vital for us to get to the place that we need to get to in life.
Where does your passion for all of this come from? Because I can feel it as you're talking. Know that you want to help women through this. Where does your passion come from for all of this, for this snapback ability?
My passion is actually birthed out of my own pain, out of my own trauma, and having the understanding that there is hope and that trauma is not your destination. It is just a place that you it's a journey. And because I have been through so many levels of trauma, and was able to get the help that I needed, was intentional about getting the help that I needed because I realized that there's so much to life. And I was not able to live under the burden of trauma. I was not able to live under the burden of pain and unforgiveness. And when I began to understand that and get the help that was needed, empowering my own self, right? And getting the help from coaches and everyone else, I realized, my God, it is possible. And I wanted to help as many women as I can to let them know that, listen, sis, there is life after trauma, okay? And a lot of times you can live your best life after trauma because you've been through something and you're
Mm,
able to pull someone else up.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, I'll ask you, Jacinth, if you had all the support in the world, if you had all the resources that you had at your fingertips, just right there in front of you, who would you be? How would you live? How would your life unfold if you had every resource, every support uh, system in place for you? Who would you be and how would you be?
I would still be Jacinth Dada. But guess what? I will be able to do so much more. I'll be able, my goal is to speak globally to women, to empower them, to give them the tools that they need to execute their transformation and to continue to author books. Oh my God, that is my passion. And
Yeah.
just workshops, conferences. If I had the resources and everything I needed, that's what I will be doing every day for the rest of my life because I believe that is the legacy that I want to leave, that
Yeah.
it is possible to live life to its fullest. So, yes, I'll still
Mm.
be Jacinth, but doing so, so much more. I'm not able to hear you, Kim.
The front door was buzzing. Somebody trying to
Okay.
try again. So I'm going to pray Jacinth Dada and hope and hold space that every resource, every support system, and we know that that's already available to us. All we have to do is tap in, right? I'm going to pray that
Correct.
every need becomes available, stays available, is right in front of your lap so that you can be fully realized, so that all of the women that I know you are destined to serve and help and unlock for them their best lives will happen for them. So I'm already deeming that it's happening for you. All the support, all the resources, because if you have it, then you're going to give it to us, and that's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I do believe that it will be so. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Thank you,
Oh,
everyone.
wow.
And Jacinth is doing great things, helping us to snap back to where we're meant to be in a space of wholeness and peace and blessings and prosperity. All that,
Absolutely.
all that and more.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Sorry about that. In the middle that the front, I guess there's a package must be, and I didn't want to answer it in the middle of it. And so even though I told the phone not to disturb. So how did that feel for you, Jacinth? Was that good?
Yes, it feels natural. I was at ease.
Good,
Yes, thank you.
good,
You made it easy too.
good. That's my job. That's my job. You know, your passion absolutely came through and came. came through strong. So I know someone's going to see this interview or pieces of this interview and feel and resonate with you in that way. So beautiful. Wasn't that great? We have a great metaphor to play with, that rubber band that will snap back to its original position, a position of love and light. That's what you're all about. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Wisdom Gifts Book Podcast. Snap back, everybody. Snap back.